the state of Maine, a program called Fix Me. It's represented here by Dale McCormick, who is the treasurer of the state of Maine, as well as Dana Totman. Please.
Thank you. I'm going to explain to you why Fix Me is needed, and then Dana is going to tell you why the program works. To understand why Fix Me was created, you really have to understand Maine. You need to look beyond our beautiful rock-bound coast, beyond the splendor of our forests and the beauty of our mountains and the charm of our farmlands. And you have to travel on our country roads, drive down our dirt driveways, and look into our dooryards. And when you do that, what you will find is a predominance of very modest single-family homes which are not in good shape. You'll get the picture if you think of three things. Keep three things in your mind. One, Maine has the 7th oldest housing stock in the nation. 2, Maine has the highest rate of home ownership, as little as 2 years ago. And 3, Maine's per capita income is 37th nationally. If you put all those three things together, you will quickly realize that it is very common in Maine to own your own home and to be poor. As a carpenter and a former state senator and congressional candidate, I have traveled the state a lot and I have poked around in lots of houses. As a commissioner for the Housing Authority and as state treasurer, I now look at homes economically. But no matter what hat I wear, I still see the dilemma. Our citizens own their own homes and they need to be repaired. The federal government has never really significantly invested in the repair of houses. HUD invests in new apartments. Farmers Home invests in new homes. We in Maine have been devising ways of fixing up our aging housing stock since our dear Senator Ed Muskie started the federal weatherization program, because he knew that our houses needed help. But unfortunately, the federal weatherization program has shrunk considerably, and that burden has fallen to the states. What Maine needed and what states need is an effort to repair the many owner-occupied homes which are in deplorable condition. The challenge is that the owners of those homes are often poor. In Maine, that challenge was met and addressed by the Fix Me program created by the Maine State Housing Authority, which Dana will explain how it works.
The Fix Me program is a significant departure from conventional public programs. Traditional help for very low-income households has always come in the form of grants. Fix Me has demonstrated that very low-income citizens will repay loans, and our very limited grant monies can be stretched much, much further. Fix Me combines plentiful bond funds with scarce grant funds to create 1% or 2% home improvement loans. Home improvement loans have historically been delivered by banks and other financial institutions. Fix Me has demonstrated that nonprofit anti-poverty agencies can perform loan underwriting, prepare complex mortgage documents, and originate loans as capably as banks can. In fact, our banks train these agencies. These community action agencies are more able to actually connect with our state's needy citizens. The average income of the poverty-level borrowers has been about $16,000. The Fix Me program has provided loans to 3,000 Maine households. The initial goal was 800 loans per year. Amazingly, we're now providing 1,100 loans per year. Prior efforts at repairing homes never exceeded 300 homes a year. The income of the borrowers is very low, demonstrating that ordinary bank loans would not have reached these very needy families. The amount of home repairs has averaged $10,000 per household for a Fix Me home repair effort of $30 million. That's a lot of money in construction activity for a state the size of Maine. The borrowers are repaying the loans. The delinquency rate is less than 7%. Given the opportunity, poor Maine families can and will repay their loans. Maine's housing stock is improving as a result of Fix Me. Had we not combined these resources, had we not created low-interest loans, had we not used the community action agencies as the program deliverers, we estimate that 70% of the 3,000 Maine households that have been helped by Fix Me would still be living in deplorable conditions. In Maine, Fix Me is working. And lastly, just like the sun rises in the morning, Maine can share Fix Me with the other 49 states after we've experienced it first. Thank you.
Yes, David Osborne.
You said that you're at a delinquency rate of less than 7%, and I guess it's been in existence for 3.5 or so years. The loans are for 10 years. If you project out, what do you think the delinquency rate will be, or the failure rate over a 10-year loan, and is that sustainable? How will you economically sustain the program?
We've underwritten the program in such a way that we can sustain up to 10% delinquency. Our goal is to keep it under 8%. We're achieving that, but the amount of monies that we put into loan loss reserves is calculated at 10% loss. I think the program is mature enough now that we're comfortable with the delinquency rate and that it will not skyrocket.
Bill Klinger.
To what extent do you rely upon, I understand the real estate transfer tax in Maine is a major source of funding for the program, and to what extent do you rely on that? I'm looking at this from the point of view of replication. Sure. If states who do not have the, would not have the largesse of the real estate transfer tax in order to fund this program.
The majority of the grants, the subsidies that go along with the bonds is the federal home block grant monies. So it's a federal home block grant that each of the 50 states get, and that's about 80% of our subsidies. So the real estate transfer tax is a very small piece. There's also some federal EPA monies that can help with the septic systems repair that go to other states as well.
Dick Hatcher.
Is there a requirement that applicants apply to conventional institutions first?
No, there is not. Using the community action agencies as the outreach agent, we're very comfortable with the folks that are being served by the program, and are comfortable that the people that are coming here are not eligible for, in most cases, for the bank loans. There may be a very small slice, but the average borrower is at 48% of median income. They're poor, and they would not. And in all the loan committees that review these loans, there are bankers on them. And in all cases, the bankers are not gravitating to these as a possible customer of their bank by any means.
Do you have no formal way of determining whether a person might not be eligible? Or?
We can look at it statistically. We know how often the banks were serving this group of people before. The most loans they ever did with a conventional rate was about 50 to 60 per year.
I feel compelled to ask both of you, in fairness, about who the contractors are, what kind of quality control you have for the contractors, and how we on the committee should respond to this unfortunate piece that appeared from the Associated Press within recent days about a number of people who have participated in the program who have serious complaints about the repairs themselves.
We've had 26 consumers complain, and we've provided loans to over 3,000 people. This particular program, in fact, it was the highlighting of us getting this award that triggered one or two of those 26 unhappy customers to come forward.
So if you get a national award, just think what may happen.
Well, I think we've learned to deal with it already.
Right.
And of those 4, I knew 2 of them, and it didn't surprise me that they complained.
But tell us about the quality control question, because that's really critical.
Every home is inspected 3 times by an inspector from the community action agencies. We at the Housing Authority inspect 10% of all of the jobs each year. The contractors are selected by the homeowners. It's their selection. And it, to some degree, kind of gets at the novelty of this program, whereby we're trying to empower the borrower to make the selection rather than government have the selection. And in some cases, the borrowers aren't able to live with the results of that decision. But we do inspect all the jobs. We do have a complaint process. In Maine, if you have work that's more than $1,500, it requires a contract between the borrower and the contractor. And that same contract has 3 avenues of dispute resolution within it.
Question, Louis?
What % of your market universe are you serving?
We think there's about 25,000 people that need their homes repaired, that own their homes. We think of that, about 12,000 are reasonable customers for this program. The others, the house is either too far gone or they're simply too poor. So that's about 12,000. We've done 3,000 so